Welcome, everybody, to the greatest show where I get to show up the greatest people and have way too much fun doing it. My guest today is the beautiful, the amazing Becky Vannes. Hi, Becky.
Hi. Yay. I'm so excited. I'm sweating in the background. I'm like, this is going to be so fun.
This is going to be so fun. And you're so fun to play with. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
So one thing something I've noticed about you, and I kind of wanted to talk about this with our people today, is you do lifing like really well. and I see a lot of people, they have all these aspects of their life, right? So you have your business, you have your relationship, if you have one, if you have kids, if you have them, you have all these different areas of your life. And, there's books out there to now help people. They're trying to create balance. They're trying to structure in, and it almost seems very controlled and like linear. But what I've noticed with you is that you have all these things going on, but there seems to be this flow, this play, this awareness with all these areas of your life. So not to put you on the spot or anything, but I am. Can you share with us, what is that for you? What is life balance for you? What is lifing for you?
Wow. That's such a great question. And thank you for that. And, it's funny because recently, if you're my friend on Facebook, I've been posting, I'm going to be married for 25 years. And I don't know, like 6 days. And I decided to do like these posts, and it was really more because I was like celebrating and acknowledging something that I really didn't even look at. I knew I have, something cool, and but then to go back and look at really like what all of my choices then really did create from a different lens, you know what I mean? I was like, wow. And I had somebody ask me then a question like, well, how does somebody stay married for 25 years? And I was looking at that, and it's kind of like the question of like lifing, like how do you create all these and have fun with it? And what I looked at, and I was like, well, because I tricked myself into it.
Tell us more.
Yeah, I was like, oh, totally. Because if you would have told me you're going to be stuck with the same man for that long, I would have been like, hell no. Right? Like that, like I was never the person that wanted to work like a 40-hour job and then be stuck in, like a certain restrictions. Like that just like, for me, the thought of that, I was like, no way. Even from like an early age, I was a waitress. And even with a waitress, like you got flexibility. If you want to, nobody controls you. You want to take off, you call your friend, you're like, can you please cover me? Or, like different things. So you have that flexibility. And so with being married for 25 years, I was just sort of like took it like one step at a time. And I recognize I do that now, like in a lot of different places. And, in different areas, different tools, you can call it like 10-second increments of just like, hey, if I'm taking one foot in front of the other, I'm going to move in this direction. And then, and then I'm like, okay. And so somehow like, so I've tricked myself into doing like so many cool, fun things. Cause I'm like, don't worry about it, Becky, like, don't have anxiety. Don't, think about it. Just take that one step in that direction. And then obviously 25 years later, I was like, what happened?
Well, and I love that too, because you can get a lightness of, oh yes, this is what I like to choose.
Yeah.
And then don't think about it. Like, don't let yourself go into that hamster wheel, that thought churning kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you ever have, either with your marriage, with your kids, or do you have a hit on like, whoa, I really haven't been nurturing this, or this really requires some of my energy?
Huh.
Or do you just naturally? Yeah, I'm like, or I wonder.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not really sure that I do, but that's a great question because, when you asked me that, I was just trying to see, like, look in some areas that would pop, and nothing really popped for that. So I wonder if it's really sort of still that, like moving in a direction of like what would be fun, like in that moment. So I'm not really sure. There are times though, of course, like I'll look in the mirror and then I'll be like, oh Lord, my butt.
My butt is so good.
Oh, okay. And then, I will, then I'll, maybe, and I'll look to what would it take to change, like change that, So I guess there are sometimes I will do that in a certain way. Yeah.
So there are people that are kind of like, you see this with moms actually a lot. They give so much and then they either don't take care of their body, or they don't take care of, there's no self-care, there's no space for them.
Yeah.
Or they're doing it all in their relationship or their business that they're outputting. And then these other areas of their lives, so whether it's physical, like their body, their emotional well-being or whatever, seems to deplete and drain.
Yeah.
So is there any awareness, like what could you share with people to have that ease of, like you're talking about, one step or just choosing what's fun rather than going in? So I see people go to the extreme of depletion, and then they go to the extreme of, I'm going to schedule in all this self-care time and I'm going to contract and make sure I do all this scheduled stuff.
Well, there's a couple cool things that pop for that. For me, I have 3 kids. My oldest is going to be 22, 20, and then 14. And I've actually used that tool with my kids, even on them choosing. Like my daughter doesn't really like to be social too much. And then when she does something that's beyond her normal, I'm like, just go and then worry about it when you get there. Or like when she'll take a new class in college and that's not always easy for her showing up. And well, actually it's not easy for a lot of people. It's not always easy for me, but I do it anyways. So that might be the one of the key, like I do it anyways. And so for her, I'm like, don't even think about it. Don't even, do whatever until you get there. And then what ends up happening is you trick yourself because you get there and then like things are already taking place. Like the teachers sit down, you find your desk and, so you're really not even worried about it then because it's actually then taking place. So with that piece, and then there is also like the piece of like, for me, like I've made a demand to be the example that I would like to show, that like I would like to have for my, my children. Now, I don't tell them what to do, but like if I am willing to choose for me, and if I'm willing to travel, if I'm willing to, like this weekend, I'm going down to a class in Del Rey. So I'm traveling tomorrow, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm leaving, and then they're like, okay, mom, have fun, and and so if I'm willing to choose for me, that gives them the the example of like they would be able to choose for them too. So if like I'm a big thing on being the example. And then there's one other piece. It's what a great question, Cassy. God, I'm popping everywhere with that question.
I love it.
Well, because I just wanted to then speak to like the body part. For me, it was like maybe 2016. I just sort of had enough. I found myself around a couple different areas in life where I would shrink. And like what that would look like is like, let's say my husband and we'd go out to dinner with somebody, and then I would dummy down to like his husband's wife's friend, sort of, because a lot of times people would think I want their husband. Weird, I don't know, just always weird things would take place. And so I would change me to let others be comfortable. Because when when you're doing kind of well in a lot of areas, that's not easy for other people. It's not. It's not always. You think people would celebrate it, but that's not always the case. So I made a demand to show up. So I was like, okay, I am not going to shrink anymore. I'm just going to, whatever that looks like. And I didn't even know what that was. I just knew I didn't want to make myself smaller anymore. Because I don't remember what happened. I found myself one time like acting stupid or just like I wasn't intelligent. And when I came home, I didn't really feel that great, So it was like, all right, that's it. I made a demand of myself. Like, I'm showing up. I don't know what that's going to look like, but I'm done. And it ended up turning into, then I went into a figure competition. It was the weirdest thing, but like one step like led to another. Like for me, it was empowering myself in the gym and I was thriving. And then I just noticed that I love transforming my body. And being a mom of, a mom, 40 some years old, being married for however long. And I had 3 C-sections. So I had stomach surgeries actually up and down. I was like, I never went into this thinking I could do a figure competition because that's not something that a 40-year-old with stomach surgeries and a mom, would be like, oh, hey, I'm going to do this. But
It's not
step by
allowed.
step, yeah, I actually went beyond any of those labels that I created. I you know what I mean? I went beyond being a mom, a wife, having never like thinking I could never have abs because I've had so many stomach surgeries. You can't do that because you'd hurt yourself or some different things. And so I ended up actually creating beyond anything that I ever would have expected.
Wow.
And so that particularly just showed up because I made the choice and the demand in my world where I'm like, I'm showing up no matter what that looks like anymore. And I'm going to have fun. And that just sort of led into this journey with my body, because you might notice, and maybe you'd look at sometimes when you're hiding, you do hide, and you hide within your body as well.
Yeah. This is so inspiring, Becky. I've actually seen these incredible photos of you in the competition. I've never heard the story before, the story behind it, and where it was a choice to show up.
Yeah.
And allowing that to be okay, I would like to show up, and then choosing whatever that is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it turned into a figure competition. When I looked at that, I had some great tools at the time too. And I was like, wow, if I can get on a stage in a bikini and be judged and like have like really, really have fun and enjoy it, I was like, I can do anything. I can do anything, And it really started changing my life. And I'm skipping over an interesting part. You'd be surprised that even with working out or with business or with your kids, the things that will come up that you have no idea that are there. So when I'm working out, I'm like, oh, I'm tired. Don't hurt yourself. Don't do that too much because, this will take place. You won't look like a woman. And are just really weird things come up for you. And it comes up in life. But when I'm working out, I had so many points of view that I bought that I had no idea that I bought. And it was such a gift to go through this journey because they would all come up and I'd be like, oh, okay. I'm going to keep going. Like that wasn't stopping me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that unstoppable choice, I just want to let people absorb that for a minute. And was that part of taking that, like you talked about, just taking one step, just taking another step, just taking another step?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because for some people that would be, if you look at the top of a mountain and you're like, oh my God. But if you're here at the base and you just keep taking steps.
And like da 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 on your way up, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna take a break here for a second, and then you're like, I got this, where I can keep going. And it's because it's those things in your head that actually do stop you. Like you're unstoppable. The only person that can stop you is you. The only person that can stop you is you. And that little self chatter of, and it's really just, and never giving up and never quitting doesn't mean you might go in a different direction too. Because if something's not working for you, you can be like, well, this isn't fun anymore. I'm going to, maybe go in a different direction, but it's still that for, like just going. Yeah.
So can I bring you to, you were talking about choosing for you and being that example for your kids. And I mean, obviously being that example for your husband as well. And everyone you touch, everyone in business. Was that something natural to you?
Wow. Yeah. I never looked at that before, but wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I wonder if,
That,
yeah.
well, and what's so amazing is I've seen people throughout my life, I'm sure we all have, where they choose in a way where it excludes everyone. It's like very like this narrow selfishness, right? It's like I'm the only thing that matters. And you are never like that. Like I've never experienced that with you. You have such an inclusion of like everyone, like every group I've been in with you, Becky, you include like the whole, like the energy of everyone in that group. And so to have this conversation and to look at where you're always choosing for you just innately while having this inclusion, that's like that's so
Wow.
inspiring. That is such a gift.
Wow. Thank you. I never looked at that like that, but thank you so much for that. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I wonder too, like, oh gosh, what is it? When, yeah, I had something to say, but you just blew my mind away with that one. Just to acknowledge, it's not always easy to like receive things that like you just you do, and yeah, wow, thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for showing that possibility. Because I know for me, I've always been I've excluded myself, and everyone else is important. And
Mm,
as I go along my consciousness journey, I'm like more and more I'm like that. I have to choose for me and include everyone. And so I'm like the person working towards more of what you just naturally be. So you are like that light, that inspiration for people like me that are like, what would it take to matter too?
oh wow, yeah, thank you for that. And I do think like with people, for me, people fascinate me.
Mm,
Like I used to always say I love people, but I got like that might not be the case. Whether it's not really like you love them or don't like them. Like it's really never
yeah.
been about that. Like people actually fascinate me. And so I'm interested. Like I'm interested in, like I know you have two little kids, and a lot of times they're like, how are your boys doing? How is it going? And so like what people do and how they do it always really does fascinate me. So I think, being fascinating and interested actually does include you, and it includes everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and because what I found, like when I ask people questions, it opens up so many possibilities for me that I wouldn't even have been aware of. Like even though like what you just said, like I wasn't aware of that, and when you just said it, it just opened up something like new. And so when you include people in that, and they ask you questions, like I'll even like have new ideas on how to do something different, or like different income revenue streams, or like wow, just because people will tell you something about them, or so being fascinated and interested in people, yeah, actually does include you.
That's amazing. I feel like if there was a mic, you would have just dropped it.
I was fist bumping you, but because you got me to that. Like I guess I never really looked at it,
That
but
too.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That was beautifully said. It does include you. So cool.
Hmm.
So, okay, so we're gonna get into the game pretty soon, but what I kind of want to do a little wrap and then see if there's anything else you want to add. There's this piece of where so it's funny because we started this call and I was kind of like, okay, I want to talk about how like all this stuff and how you don't have to have form and structure, but you could still like have all these aspects of your life. And where we went was so much bigger. And what I'm kind of being aware of is you have these, what if all these aspects of your life you also included? Like it's where they're not actually divisible and
Yeah.
dividing and separate and segregated.
Yeah.
It's all of you, which includes all
All
of
of
the people in your life
people
and
in
all
life.
of consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah, when we were looking at that the other day, it was pretty fascinating too to look at that because somebody was talking about relationship again, because that's like the topic right now. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, the kind of relationship that you have outside actually reflects like the kind of relationship with you. Because, you know, like the co-creation you have with yourself is where everything else will percolate and show up. So, you know, it's really these different things because like we just talked about business and you know, I've done really well in business and but it really goes for like that same, I don't want to call it even a formula, but really that, you know, if I ask for something and I have the demand and there's something similar that shows up, like I'm like, yes, even if I have no clue how to do it. You know, I've had so many things like show up. And so it's really I'll take that one step. It's like funny, like it is like I would trick myself into doing things because, you know, I'm like, okay, I got to do this one thing, like just try it. And if you don't like it, you don't have to do it. And so really just, you know, those one step, those tiny little increments, you don't have to eat like the whole thing at once. It's just like that one step. And it's, you know, you know, like I've had some, you know, amazing success in a lot of businesses. And actually someone just interviewed me the other day and it was such a cool interview. And his question was, okay, great. You know, like what's next now? What's next? You know, what's your next adventure? What's your next business? And I was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm asking that question. That's actually brilliant. Like, what's next? And, you know, I'm always, you know, like, yeah, wow, what is next? Like in wonderment of like, because I know there's always, you know, that next step, you know, and so I do that, I guess, everywhere. Yeah, well, what's next?
Oh, yeah. So if you, you know, I'd love to have you on another time and talk about like, because you do know you have so much wealth of information with business. I'd love to have a chat about that in the future.
Yeah.
So if you guys want more with Becky, please connect with her. We're going to have links to all her stuff at the bottom of this. Reach out to her, get engaged with her, follow her, you know, digest her amazing content. She is freaking brilliant on all of these levels. So have fun and reach out and connect.
Yeah.
So is there anything last you want to say before we jump into this game?
Oh, I'm so nervous about this game. But I'm doing it. I was like, what? I'm like, but I'm all in. And that's it, you know, like so the last piece is like just, you know, whether it's funny, you're crazy or whatever, but like just take that step and I'm all in. So I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
Ready. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna explain the game to the people. This is probably maybe our most complicated game so far
Thank
on
you,
the
Twyla.
show.
Let's give Becky
Thank you,
the
Twyla.
complicated one.
Anyone can handle this, it's Becky. Okay, so what okay. Here's how the game works. We called the game Satisfy. We named it Satisfy because we were looking at satisfying like all these different parts of lifing. Okay, so there's going to be 4 categories, and we're going to pull up a beautiful thing, and you're going to see all the categories, and then you get to choose one. Okay, so you'll choose one of the categories. And once the category is chosen, we'll take turns adding different aspects of life and living. So you'll go first, I'll go, and then we just go back and forth. Okay. And if we get stuck or we don't have an answer or the timer ends, then whoever's prevailing wins, and there's no prize, so it doesn't really matter.
There's no prize?
There's no prize. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And at the bottom of the screen, we're going to have 5 lifeline answers. So you could just pull one of those questions. You could just pull one of those answers if you can't think of anything, if you're stumped. And we can challenge each other.
Yeah, because I can make something up if I don't know something, right?
Totally. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is gonna be good. Okay. So the timer, I think we're gonna do a minute per thing. We'll do 2 categories. You get to pick first.
Okay.
Twyla, when you're ready, Twyla, show the screen. So there's the categories. You got to choose one. The Fam Bam, self-care, business time, or creation plus ship.
Let's start with self-care.
Okay. 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 So what we're gonna do is we're gonna list as many. Oh, I gotta get my timer ready. Don't start till I turn
I'm
the timer
sweating.
on.
I'm sweating.
Okay. So, so you're gonna go just one step. Just so you go, I go, you go, I go. We'll
Okay.
just go as fast as we can for a minute.
Okay.
So list as many different possible ways of self-care could look like.
Okay. Am I gonna go?
And go.
Get your nails done.
Bath.
Color your hair.
Self-pleasure.
Oh, I wanted that one. Get your eyebrows waxed.
Oh, massage.
Brazilian wax.
That is good self-care.
Yeah.
I concur.
That's a good
one. Take a walk in nature.
Shave your legs.
Ooh, yes. You could have a spandex party.
Are these cheats? What?
Those are our cheats at the bottom.
Who has spandex parties?
Yeah, that's self-care.
Okay.
I think a spandex party is self-care.
Okay. I don't even know what that last one is. Have sex.
Okay, our timer.
Oh.
That was good.
Spandex parties. Did Twyla come up with these?
She came over.
She Googled it. She Googled it.
She Googled it. Okay, Twyla, show us the screen one more time. I'm going to pick a category this time.
Oh. What's that first
okay.
one? What? What does that say?
The Fam Bam.
Oh,
the Fam Bam.
Oh, let's do the Fam Bam.
You think we should do the Fam Bam? Okay, let's do the Fam Bam.
All right, we're gonna do that.
Okay, so for this category, we're going to list out of the box activities you can do with your family. Out of the box. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Go to the gym. My kids hate that, so I was trying to think of something out of the box.
Go to Bali.
Oh. Take your kids on a honeymoon. Who would want to do that?
I don't know. Prank each other.
Oh boy. Pull their kids out of school just so they could be home with them.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's actually good.
Enroll your kids in activities like archery and don't tell them about it and then drop them off.
This is okay. This just popped. Take your kids to Lamaze class.
Oh, timer! That was awesome, Lamaze.
I don't know how that archery made that pop into my head, but that would be a big surprise, wouldn't it?
Oh my god! Thank you so much, Becky. That was way too much fun. See, you rocked it.
That was a lot of fun. Can we do one more?
Okay, let's do one more. Come on, bring it back up. Can we have business time or creation plus ship?
Creation plus ship.
Okay, awesome.
Okay,
so we're gonna list adventurous ideas to spice up a relationship.
Oh Lord. Okay.
And go.
All right. Have sex in an elevator.
Love that one.
I might or might not have done those if my kids are watching.
I think you have. Okay, prancer size.
Prancer size.
Prancer size.
Go hunting with your husband.
Oh, that would spice it up.
Yeah.
Have a fake intense argument and then make up sex.
Oh my gosh, I need help. Eat grapes? Like, what is that? Is that a lifeline option?
Okay. Yeah, that's a lifeline.
Yeah, you fried my brain with that one. All right, go ahead. We can't use spandex party.
Okay, we gotta go. We gotta get ready. You could. The timer.
I think I won. I think I won then.
I think you did. I think you won. You rocked it. Thank you so much, Becky. That was so fun. You're so good.
Welcome back.
Yeah. I can't wait to have you back on the show already. I'm super excited. I'm so grateful. You're such a gift. So thank you for being here. And please, guys, reach out, connect with Becky.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye for now. We'll see you next Thursday, guys.